Yo, YouTube, what to do? It's that nigga Shadow6L. And today in this video, I'm finna show y'all, well, tell y'all, in my opinion, the most underrated season of all time, and that's season 9. Before we get into the video, make sure you sub, like, and I'm so happy we hit 155 subs. It's like a big milestone in my opinion. I appreciate y'all, 155 of y'all. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. I'm out. Alright, so my number one point I feel like people hate about this season is I feel like this season was the definition of when the player base took off. Like, when you could really tell the difference between a good player, an elite player, a ass player, and just like, what the fuck, how are you this bad? The game's been off for 2 years player. And so I feel like that's one sole reason why people hate it. Also because I feel like around season 9 time, you know, Booger won the World Cup, clicks and people like that, nature was blowing up. I feel like that was around the time, you know, the content creators like the Ninjas, the Tim the Tatmans, I feel like their community, I feel like that's when they started hating the game more and they started criticizing the game more than not. Just because I feel like how much the skill base was growing. Like, I promise you, around that season 8, season 9 area, I feel like if you look at all the so-called sweats running Fortnite bullshit videos, if you see most of the videos, they came out around this period of time just because this was around the time, you know, people saw being good as like actually like, holy shit, the game is going in the direction where if you're not good, you're not gonna win. And whose fault is that to blame? That's just the involvement of players in every single game. Like, if you don't practice to be good, of course you ain't gonna win. Like, what the fuck? Another reason why I think people hate this season so much was because the battle pass is a very forgettable one. The skin, the mascot, most people say the mascot of that season is the Bunker Jonesy. In my opinion, that was even one of the top 3 skins of that season. In my opinion, the 2 best skins by far, and it's not even close, is Singularity and Demi. Like, those 2 skins, in my opinion, blow the other skins in that battle pass out the water by a far margin. Like, it's not even close. Like, what the fuck? Also, another thing about the battle pass, or the season people forget about, is this season gave us the greatest winners umbrella of all time. It's that, you know, that the hieroglyphics umbrella. It gave us the greatest winning umbrella of all time this season. So yeah, let's get into my points of proving why this great season was the greatest and most underrated. So let's go. Alright, so I'm gonna knock this one off first. Season 9 had probably one of the top 3 greatest seasonal loopholes of all time. Fuck top 3, top 2 greatest seasonal loopholes of all time. So let's start off with the ARs. You could have either ran a normal AR, a SCAR, attack SMG, or a tactical assault rifle, which is one of the most underrated guns of all time. That mid-range, it's in the game right now. You only can pick them up from IO guards though, which are fucking annoying. But if you play arena now, you can't pick them up at all because they took IO guards. Thank you, Lord Jesus. I don't know why it took them so long. Like, what the fuck? Now on to shotguns. Shotguns, in my opinion, this was the greatest shotgun season of all time, and it's not even close. Like, it's not even debatable. I mean, of course, at the beginning of the season 9, you could really say it was like one of the worst because it was just either a comeback or attack. Like, if you had attack, you was gonna lose every single fight versus a person with a comeback, unless you was just like, you know, goated with the game. But yeah, but that mid season 9, you know, run a World Cup season, all that era, you could either run a blue pump or any color pump, like green and blue, which both did 95 damage and 100 damage. That means the blue pump was able to 200 damage people. They had the purple and gold pump in the game. Then you had the attack users, you know, the weird niggas who wanted to spam a fucking shotgun. Then you had the people who don't want to get right inside people's boxes, but still could if they wanted to, but took a lot of damage off with the rapid fire ass shots with the comeback. I'm not gonna lie, pre-nerf comeback is arguably the greatest shotgun in the game. You could make an argument, in my opinion, it's either between excuse me, I don't know what the fuck that was. In my opinion, it's between the gold comeback and the gold pump. It's between those 2. Cause pre-nerf combat was a motherfucker. You hit 2 headshots, you kill somebody. Cause then the blue one used by itself just did like what, 120 damage? It was something like that. It was a fucking lie. So basically, if you hit 2 rapid fire shots, you kill somebody already. Like, what the hell? So yeah, now to the heals. Wasn't this the season they introduced chug splashes? I believe. Yeah, cause they had big. I think this was the season they introduced chug splashes too. I might be wrong on that. It probably might be season 10. Anyway, I just feel like this season in general just had the greatest loophole out of any season we could ever see in the future. Well, not in the future that we already saw so far. Talking in future tense and shit. My bad if I sound a little bit tired. My voice be a little low. It's because I'm tired as hell right now. Making this video currently at, let me check the time, 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, what the fuck? Another reason why I feel like this season is so damn good was because it had the best mobility of all time. And it's not even close. Like, there's no season, in my opinion, that comes close to season 9 mobility-wise. And because they had shockwave grenades, hiccups, excuse me, right there. They had shockwave grenades. They had the not ghosts, but them fucking shadow nades. You know, when you throw them on the ground, you can become invisible for a few. They had those. They had the surfboards, or the drift boards, same thing. They had those little drift boards, so you get across the map fast. And the most controversial was probably the wind tunnels, just because it led to more third parties. But in my opinion, it was a 50-50. Either you was gonna get third party, or if you were smart enough and knew what you was doing, you could escape it before the third party happened, then you could be the third party, you know what I'm saying? So it was like a 50-50 chance. Then I think around the map they also had a little bit of, they didn't have as many pirate cannons as they did in season 8, but I think they had some, like, you know, it's like a rare coincidence you can find them. So yeah, they had all that shit. Then not just that, they had ballers. And in my opinion, ballers, at first I hated them. Well, I didn't hate them, but I know a lot of the pros hated them. But then once they realized it's basically like a free rotation sometimes, I feel like that's when people, you know, really started liking them. It was good for competitive. Like, if you look at most of the yeah, you could look at the most of the arena games, but also the World Cup qualifying games, you could see that, like, the ballers were so damn good for rotation and shit. Another reason why I think this season was so good was because I feel like around this time, this is when most of the content creators and, well, not, you could call them content creators, but most of the professionals, you know, the good ass players that started blowing up, like the Face Waves, the Clicks, the Mongrels, the Boogers, you know, the professionals now, as we have them now, the Zanes, you know, and that's when, I feel like around this time, that's when wagers really took off, you know, 1v1 wagers, box fights wagers, well, as they knew back in the days, it was Turtle Wars. Around this time, I feel like this is when they started evolving, and Fortnite became less build fights and more box fighting and build fights mixed together. You know, you're still gonna have a lot of build fights. Even now, you have a lot of build fights, but most of the fights gonna turn into a box fight. Also, I feel like another bad thing about the season is around this time, this one ping became really a big thing. Like, this one wall taking and zero pinging and shit, all that. This became a real big deal. Alright, so a quick little recap of this whole video. So I don't got nothing else good to say about the season or nothing bad about to say about it. Basically, the reasons why this season is so good and so underrated. Greatest loophole of all time. Easily, it's not even negotiable. Greatest mobility of all time. And that's not even negotiable. Greatest live event of all time. Well, you could probably argue for other ones. Most people probably gonna say the Rocket event because it was just their first one. In my opinion, that's probably the most impactful and most influential live event of all time. Well, greatest live event of all time. But it's not the best. If you don't know the difference between greatest and best, there's multiple differences. Like, for example, I use NBA for an example. There's a lot of people who has Bill Russell as one of the greatest, top 10, one of the greatest players of all time. But rarely anybody has him as top 10 best of all time. Like, it's a huge difference between greatest and best. So yeah, most people have the Rocket. I have the Rocket event as the greatest live event, but I have the Monster versus Robot event as the best live event of all time. But yeah, it had the greatest live event of all time, greatest loot pool of all time, and greatest mobility of all time. Three of the greatest, most, you could probably argue storyline too. Well, top 3 storyline. There's barely any season where I could say had a better storyline of this season. Probably the Chapter 2 season 2 season. That might make a video about that season too. That season was really not. It should be talked about more than what it is now. I'm not gonna lie. Like, just look at that dude, bro. Who just killed me, bro? He destroyed. Holy shit! I didn't get killed that bad now, but but yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video. I'm gonna make this a series, you know, just talk about different seasons, like the best, this is the most underrated, most overrated, most overlooked, most underlooked. Like, I could just I should make this a series. Yeah. yeah, if y'all want me to do a series about this, comment below. And without further ado, y'all see me boxing the dude. I'm gonna let this clip play out. Once this clip play out, I'll talk to y'all later. So I'm out.